Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, May 3, 2016. Join us for the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are here to give you carefully gathered stories, assuring you of accurate, truthful, and balanced newscasts. I am Berlin Basingan, sitting in for Gerry Alcantara.
We are also seen in 1,360 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through www.untvweb.com. And this is
Y News.
Here are the headlines. The Justice Department ends preliminary investigation on Maya De Guito and Kim Wong's money laundering case. The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV, sets up its command center for the unofficial parallel count. The Philippine National Police prepares its National Elections Monitoring Action Center, or NEMAC.
The Senate of the Philippines goes on full alert for the May 9 elections, while presidential candidates gear up for their meeting, the Avance. The Bureau of Fire Protection officially declares fire out in some areas of Mount Apo. And UP Law graduate tops the 2015 bar exams. Over 1,700 new lawyers are set to take oath in June.
First in the news, a graduate of the UP College of Law topped the 2015 bar examination. 1,731 new lawyers who passed the 2015 bar are set to take their oath this June. Roderick Mendoza tells us why.
The Supreme Court has released the list of new lawyers who passed the 2015 bar exams held at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila last November. Of over 6,000 examinees that completed the exams, 1,731 were successful. This is over 26% of the examinees and one of the highest since 2010.
This year's passing average is 75%. No adjustment was made.
UP Law graduate Rachel Angelo Miranda topped the list of passers, garnering 87.4%. Atina Plaza of University of San Carlos is second placer, followed by Jason Aguilar of UP. Reginald Arceo and Bandit Therese Anderson, both from Ateneo, placed 4th and 5th respectively. Two other UP graduates, 2 from San Beda and 1 each from University of San Carlos, Xavier University, Ateneo and Bulacan State University, also made it to the top 10.
If you're part of the top 10, parang mas maraming choices sa'yo career-wise in the legal profession. So, yun, it's such an achievement. It's what all law students aspire to have, and I'm so thankful.
The new lawyers will take their oath during a special en banc session of the Supreme Court, which will be held in PICC, Pasay City on June 16. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is considering the proposals to reform the bar exams, including the reduction of bar subjects and possible regionalization. There is also a proposal to automate the application process to take the bar exams, but the High Court is yet to issue its final decision on this. Roderick Mendoza reporting for Y News.
The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting is now preparing its command center for the May 9 polls. Victor Cosare tells us why.
The Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV, will utilize its 700,000 volunteers nationwide to guard the upcoming elections. However, aside from poll watching, part of PPCRV's mandate, being an accredited citizens arm of COMELEC, is the conduct of an unofficial parallel count of votes. Today, the election watchdog unveiled its command center where the unofficial count will be conducted. Vote counting machines in the precincts will be directly transmitting election results to the transparency server where PPCRV will be getting data for the parallel count. However, the group hopes that the transmission of results will improve this year as compared to the 2013 elections.
In 2013, only 74% of the PCOS machines actually transmitted the data to us in the transparency server here. That meant that we were blind to 12 million votes. In a very closely contested fight, which our national election is, every single transmitted vote needs to be counted. And every single transmitted vote needs to be made transparent to all of us.
PPCRV is also concerned that revisions and some additional inputs in the guidelines for the conduct of polls has been done barely a few weeks before the elections, like the issuance of replacement ballots. The group said this might result in confusion in the field on election day.
There are no implementing guidelines. When we are asking for implementing guidelines foreseeing havoc in the polling centers and polling places nationwide, we are given the catch-all phrase, the Board of Election Inspectors have the ultimate discretion in deciding whether to give a replacement ballot. This leads to heated exchanges, to debates, and we make our BEIs vulnerable because they have no policy guidelines to fall back on.
The group is also concerned why they were not included in key milestone events like the distribution of election paraphernalia, such as in the past.
Schedules of campaign paraphernalia disbursement and delivery were not shared with us. We begged for it, and we are begging for it still.
Also, the watchdog said they are receiving reports from the field that vote buying is getting more creative. In Zamboanga, for example, a party promises a monthly stipend if a person votes for their candidates. Victor Cosare reporting for Y News.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines launches a monitoring center as part of its commitment to help secure the election. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
As one of the deputized agencies of the Commission on Elections or COMELEC, today the Armed Forces of the Philippines launches its first National Election Monitoring Center or NEMC, which is already operational 24 hours a day. This monitoring center is connected to 7 unified commands of the AFP throughout the country to process vital information related to security before, during elections and until the end of the canvassing process. The National Elections Monitoring Center is equipped with satellite and internet connectivity. Aside from the maps of provinces declared under election watch list, various monitoring boards are updated, such as the number of military troops deployed, status of automated election system equipment, number of election-related incidents in each province, and others. This center is connected in 7 unified commands of the AFP, and video teleconferencing will be held often to process information immediately and decide on important matters abruptly.
Nakita namin yung synchronization ng communication centralized or yung tinatawag natin na C2, command and control. So nakita namin na very efficient siya, lahat ng data nakikita. Tapos yung lahat ng decision making process ng ating mga planners, at the same time yung mga heads ng armed forces, yung mga pinakamataas ng ating armed forces ay natutugunan through data. Nakakapag-decide kami through data. So it is very necessary.
AFP ensures its NEMC has no overlapping roles with the Election Monitoring Center of the Philippine National Police because it is concentrated in far-flung areas. Through the Election Monitoring Center, the military can immediately issue guidance to its troops on election-related incidents as well as internal security concerns in various parts of the country. AFP once again reiterates its readiness to use all its available resources to assist COMELEC in ensuring safe and fair elections 2016.
Committed naman yung AFP. Yung aming leadership sa armed forces is committed to help the COMELEC in any means possible.
For now, AFP is still with its validation process with regards to COMELEC's request to deliver vote counting machines in isolated places in Palawan, such as the Pag-asa Island. Rosalie Cos reporting for Y News.
Presidential bows are gearing up for their final meeting de avance this week. Meanwhile, the Senate of the Philippines goes on full alert for the elections. This report will tell us why. Senate security will have 3 shifts to ensure that the delivery of the certificate of canvass and election returns will be safe. The Senate held a simulation on the reception of the COC and ERs yesterday. Generator sets have been readied as well as emergency lights in case of power outage on the day of the COC and ER reception. The Senate coordinates with the Philippine National Police on maintaining peace and security. K-9 units were deployed at the Senate premises and CCTV cameras have been prepared to record the entrance and exits of people.
24 hours, 24/7 kami dito until we finish the reception and transfer to the house. We are already ready.
Earlier today, the PNP conducted an inspection over the premises of the PICC where the canvassing of votes will be held. The PNP has also created a proposed security plan on the national canvassing site. COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez arrived at PICC to check on the area where the media briefings will be held. Meanwhile, some presidential candidates are gearing up for their final meeting, the Avance, on May 7. Senator Grace Poe will hold hers at Plaza Miranda. Vice President Jejo Binay will hold his meeting, the Avance, in Makati, while Mayor Rodrigo Duterte will set up his assembly at Luneta Grandstand. No final schedule yet for Rojas and Senator Miriam Santiago. The candidates are expecting to be more eager to deliver their platform of government and programs on the said activities. Darlene Basingan reporting for Y News. The reactionary standby support of the Philippine National Police gets a sudden change of command after the PNP's accounting of personnel. Victor Cosare tells us why.
A total of 3,217 personnel will serve as reactionary standby support force for the elections. They will be deployed in areas which need augmentation force. But there was a sudden change of brigade commander in RSSF. The change of command was held yesterday to Police Chief Superintendent Francis Elmo Sarona after its former commander, Police Chief Superintendent Ronald De La Rosa, was relieved from post due to his pro-Duterte remarks on Facebook. In his post, De La Rosa warns those who plan to manipulate the elections against presidential candidate Rodrigo Duterte and tagged the account of Duterte's Chief of Staff, Christopher Bongo. One of his posts also insinuates preference of Filipinos between Batman and Emilio Aguinaldo. Emilio Aguinaldo was Duterte's fictitious financier who he mentioned during the final presidential debate, while Rojas took a quote from Batman. De La Rosa even bragged on social media what Duterte had contributed to his professional career. Even so, the PNP maintains another reason why De La Rosa was axed from office. PNP Deputy Chief for Operations, Police Deputy Director General Danilo Constantino said De La Rosa was tasked to head the orientation of personnel at the national headquarters about their election duties.
They should be given a crash course on relevant COMELEC resolutions. Ang OPR dito will be the Directorate for Human Resource and Doctrine Development. And Police Chief Superintendent Ronald De La Rosa is the EXO of HRDD. So we are tasking him to lead in giving orientations.
Still, the PNP will investigate on De La Rosa's social media post to check of any administrative liability. In line with this, the PNP reminds its personnel to remain apolitical and refrain from posting pictures and messages on social media of any relation to the candidates.
Focus muna tayo sa trabaho, and yung Facebook, Twitter, or Viber, medyo iwasan muna natin, especially posting controversial statements and pictures.
Meanwhile, as part of the election preparations of the PNP, the National Elections Monitoring Action Center, or NEMAC, is now being set up inside camp. The agency also has started the training of the 223 IT personnel from 81 provinces and 21 cities of the country, particularly on web mapping, as the PNP plans to make use of the Quantum Geographical Information System in the monitoring of the 36,788 polling centers nationwide. Victor Cosare reporting for Y News.
Issues concerning children were discussed earlier at a mock debate participated by children who impersonated the 5 presidential candidates. This report will tell us why. They are the child impersonators of the presidential candidate in this year's so-called Mini Pilipinas debate, a mock debate that solely focused on the issues concerning children. While impersonating the way the presidential will speak and act, the child impersonators discuss and emphasize the actions that they say the candidates must do to address the issues that affect children's welfare. This include addressing the needs of street children, reducing malnutrition rates, and providing quality education.
Pangako ko na magkaroon ng disente at ligtas na tirahan at pamayanan ang mga batang maralita. Na magkaroon ang bawat pamilya ng masustansya at sapat na pagkain sa araw-araw.
Nais ko po na ang Pilipinas ay magkaroon ng libreng healthcare para sa lahat ng bata at magkaroon po ng teen center sa bawat barangay. Magkakaroon tayo ng di kalidad na edukasyon para sa mga bata.
They also emphasize the need to address child labor and the dilemma of children in conflict areas. In addition, they also want the next administration to give them the chance to air their voice in various issues concerning them.
Nalagay na po natin ang mga pundasyon na yan para sa mga bata. Laban sa child trafficking, child labor, children in conflict with the law, at pagprotekta sa mga bata sa disaster.
May kinatawan din dapat ang mga bata sa gobyerno. Kailangan ding maisali ang mga bata sa paggawa ng batas, programa at budget sa gobyerno.
I am willing to consult children on programs for children. Ang pangako ko, pag ako nagpangulo, gagawin ko ang makabatang gobyerno.
The activity's organizer, the group Bata Muna, says the Mini Pilipinas debate aims to call on candidates to prioritize also the resolution of issues concerning children. The Coalition of Children's Advocates explains that they are making the call since the candidates seem to neglect discussing publicly children's concerns and issues. The group also called on voters to choose candidates that have a clear platform on children's concerns.
Hindi lamang bata ang makikinabang kung ipapasa natin ang mga batas, ibibigay natin ang programa para sa kanila. Habang tinutugunan natin ang isyu ng mga bata, gumagaang ang buhay nating mga adults.
After the new president is proclaimed, the group will stage a mini-me presidential inauguration. It aims to call on the next president to give solution to the problems facing the children of our country nowadays. Darlene Basingan reporting for Y News.
Senator Bong Revilla's appeal to vote in Cavite still needs a comment from the COMELEC and the PNP. A lot of factors have to be considered over Senator Bong Revilla's appeal to exercise his right to vote in Cavite. According to the prosecution, there might be a rampage of supporters in the polling precinct, so the senator must be taken to the priority or express lane. But a problem in security is also a concern since Bacoor, Cavite is included in the election watch list due to intense political rivalry, presence of armed groups and rebels. For these reasons, the prosecution has asked for comments from the COMELEC and the PNP to know if the senator's appeal is logistically feasible. Revilla is detained at the Philippine Custodial Center due to plunder charges in relation to the PDAF scam. The prosecutor handling the money laundering cases against Maya Santos Digito and Kim Wong has denied the request for additional time to answer the charges filed by Anti-Money Laundering Council. In today's hearing, lawyers for Digito and Kim Wong requested that the submission of their counter affidavit be deferred due to a new case filed by AMLAC against PhilRem. The prosecutor has given Digito and Wong until 5 p.m. today to submit their answer to the accusations, after which the cases are deemed submitted for resolution. Digito was able to file her counter affidavit, but Kim Wong's lawyer opted to file a formal motion to seek an extension of time.
Ang sinasabi lang namin, mukhang kailangan ng fair play dito at simultaneous filing. Kasi halos pareho ang mga alegasyon sa tingin namin. At mukhang sa tingin rin namin makoconsolidate ang kaso ng PhilRem dito sa kaso ni Mr. Wong at kaso ni Ms. Digito. Kaya sa tingin namin, sabay-sabay na tayo mag-file.
gusto ng AMLC na sarhan ng kaso na ang involved lang ay PhilRem, si Ms. Digito at saka si Mr. Kim Wong. Kasi kung susuriin natin, sino bang nagpapasok nung 81 million? Si Mr. Kim Wong ba? Si Ms. Digito ba? PhilRem ba? Hindi. RCBC main office.
The Bureau of Fire Protection has officially declared fire out after more than a month of conducting clearing operations in Mount Apo. Joyce Balancio tells us why.
The forest fire in several parts of Mount Apo in Mindanao has been successfully put out after more than a month of operation. Bureau of Fire Protection Region 11 spokesperson Chief Superintendent Nestor Jimenez said that all fireheads in the mountain have been completely extinguished based on their observation and gathered data.
Cleared para out na siya, ma'am, as no signs of smoke na observed na sa itong observer na ito sa all fireheads, no, sa Mount Apo. So, hapon, declared na ito nga fire out.
Despite this, the BFP will still deploy firefighter teams on standby in case a fire breaks out due to hot temperatures.
Ayos, naman ko tayo fireman nga residente sa Barangay Kapatagan doon itong nasunugan. So, doon sila ka firefighter.
The BFP will also prohibit entry in the area of climbers who want to conduct tree planting due to dangerous terrain. The local government units have also prepared programs aimed for the recovery and replacement of damaged trees in the mountain.
Kaya naghan mo ko nag-offer daw nga mag-conduct of tree planting pero because of the situation sa terrain, nalisod guys, na ay 75 degrees, na ay 55 degrees at pinaka-kuha na sa air slope. So, lisod guys siya nga ikuha na to tree planting.
The authorities are now investigating the cause of fire in Mount Apo. Joyce Balancio reporting for Y News.
President Benigno Aquino III signed Republic Act No. 10771 or the Philippine Green Jobs Act of 2016. Under the new law, companies as well as investors are encouraged to promote green jobs or employment in the sectors of agriculture, industry, and services that help preserve and restore the quality of environment and minimize the cost of pollution. Companies that would adhere to the Green Jobs Act will be given special deduction on taxable income tax. Likewise, the law states that importation of capital equipment for green jobs will be taxed and duty-free. The law is expected to encourage more investors on e-vehicle production and power companies that use renewable energy sources such as windmills and solar panels.
Y News will be right back.
Mga tumatakbo sa pagkapresidente sa May 2016. Jojo Binay, una. Miriam Defensor Santiago, PRP. Rodi Duterte, PDP Laban. Grace Poe, Independent. Mar Rojas Daang Matuid, LP. Roy Senieres, WPP, PMM. Isang paalala mula sa Commission on Elections. Tamang pagboto, tamang pagbilang. Mga tumatakbo sa pagka-vice presidente sa May 2016. Alan Peter Cayetano, Independent. Chis Escudero, Independent. Gringo Honasan, una. Bongbong Marcos, Independent. Lenny Robredo Daang Matuid, LP. Antonio Trillanes IV, independent. Isang paalala mula sa Commission on Elections. Tamang pagboto, tamang pagbilang.
Motorists are now experiencing heavy traffic in EDSA northbound, particularly from Ayala Avenue to Shaw Boulevard. Nel Maribohok is at Quezon Avenue in EDSA to tell us why live. Go ahead.
Diego, motorists in EDSA southbound will just experience moderate to heavy traffic in Magallanes and Tramo area, and vehicles are slow moving in some major intersections of EDSA. Let's take a look at the traffic situation here in Quezon Avenue and in EDSA. In this area of Quezon Avenue going to Timog intersection, vehicles are fast moving, but motorists will experience slow moving from Roosevelt Avenue intersection to Araneta Avenue. Motorists approaching to España will experience moderate traffic up to Quiapo area. And vehicles from Quiapo area going to EDSA will experience light to moderate traffic except in the intersection of Araneta Avenue where vehicles are slow moving. Meanwhile, in EDSA, from Balintawak to Nia Road, vehicles are fast moving, but approaching to NEPA Q-Mart, motorists will experience light to moderate traffic all the way to Cubao area. Vehicles will loosen up in white lanes to Shaw Boulevard. Moderate to heavy traffic in Magallanes to Tramo and light to moderate traffic in Taft to Rojas Boulevard. Also, vehicles in EDSA northbound are slow moving in Taft Avenue going to Malibay. And motorists needs a lot of patience if you are approaching in Ayala Avenue intersection because it's heavy traffic from Magallanes to SM Mega Mall. And vehicles will loosen up in Cubao area up to North Avenue all the way to Balintawak area. And that is our traffic update here in Quezon Avenue in EDSA. Diego.
Thank you, Nel Maribohok, reporting live from EDSA Quezon Avenue. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has released 842.5 million pesos as augmentation fund for the Department of Social Welfare and Development. The budget will be used in implementing the projects for the effects of El Niño, including the purchase of food packs, cash or food for work programs, shelter assistance, and additional relief supplies in areas severely affected by El Niño. The DBM says the fund will come from the 2016 National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund's national budget.
The country will continuously experience hot weather conditions for this week. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAG-ASA, says the presence of a ridge of a high-pressure area in Luzon maintains the air temperature on its perspiring level. PAG-ASA's heat index forecast for tomorrow in Metro Manila and Tuguegarao fluctuates to around 40 degrees Celsius. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms will be more likely to be experienced in the eastern section of Visayas and of Mindanao due to the effect of easterlies. No tropical cyclone yet entering the Philippine area of responsibility since January this year. Scuffles break out in the Turkish parliamentary over discussions on lawmakers' immunity. Meanwhile, Honduran authorities arrest 4 suspects, including 2 men linked to a controversial dam project. And Nunes tells us why.
In Damascus, various organizations organized events in Damascus on Monday to support residents of the northern Syrian city of Aleppo, where conflicts are escalating and the civilian death toll continues to increase. Many athletes volunteered to donate blood at a Damascus blood bank on Monday morning in an event organized by the Syrian Sports League. Hospitals in Aleppo have insufficient supplies of blood, according to the organizer of the event. The organizer of the activity said that they hope to send a signal to Aleppo residents that all Syrians are paying attention to the situation there. Participants lit candles symbolizing their hope that the conflict in Aleppo can come to an end as soon as possible. Aleppo was once the economic center and the largest city in Syria. The escalating military conflicts since April 23 have killed over 250 people, most of them civilians. In Turkey, scuffles broke out between lawmakers from Turkey's ruling AK party and the pro-Kurdish opposition party, HDP, during a constitutional commission meeting in parliament over lawmakers' immunity on Monday. The meeting, which had been postponed from Thursday, April 28 due to fighting, was held to discuss a proposal to lift lawmakers' immunity from prosecution. Lawmakers shoved, punched, and threw water bottles at each other during a heated discussion, while others jumped over tables to join the fight. The chairman of the commission and AK party deputy Mustafa Sentop called for a short break to allow lawmakers to come down before resuming the session. Last week, a brawl between the AK party and HDP lawmakers delayed efforts to pass legislation on a migration deal with the EU. And in Honduras, Honduran authorities have arrested 4 people in connection with the murder of award-winning environmental and indigenous rights activist Berta Cáceres. President Juan Orlando Diaz said Cáceres' murder hit the country hard. At the time of her death, Cáceres was campaigning against a hydroelectric project in Honduras and was instrumental in organizing protests against the project. The activist was the head of the Consejo de Organizaciones Populares e Indígenas de Honduras, COPINH, an organization which champions the rights of indigenous groups in the country. She was shot and killed at her home in La Esperanza, Honduras, in early March. Her predecessor, Nelson Garcia, was also shot dead. Honduras, a poor Central American country, has one of the world's highest murder rates. And in this reporting, for Y News.
Paralympians take over downtown Tokyo's high streets to demonstrate their sporting skills and raise awareness. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich trains ahead of their Champions League return leg against Atletico Madrid, trailing 1-0 from last week's first leg. Aaron Romero will tell us why.
Japanese Paralympics athletes took over the high streets of Tokyo on Monday as they demonstrated their sporting skills as they sought to raise awareness of the games ahead of the Rio Summer Games and the Tokyo Summer Games in 2020. Organized by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, the event proved to be an eye-opening experience for some who had not imagined playing basketball in a wheelchair could be so difficult. Organizers, however, could not hide their amazement that they were able to host this event in the center of Tokyo. The 2020 Paralympics in Tokyo will be held from August 25 until September 6. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich's players took to the pitch on Monday ahead of their Champions League semi-final against Atletico Madrid, where they are desperate to avoid losing a third consecutive Champions League semi-final to Spanish opponents. Bayern coach Pep Guardiola inherited the reigning European champions when he joined Bayern in 2013, but has endured successive semi-final failures since falling to Real Madrid in 2014 and to his former club Barcelona last season. His hopes of reaching a first Champions League final since his Barcelona side beat Manchester United 3-1 in 2011 were dented after Saul Niguez's brilliant solo goal gave Atletico a 1-0 first leg victory last week. With Guardiola leaving for Manchester City at the season's end, this is his last chance to conquer Europe with Bayern, who won the first of their 5 European Cups by defeating Atletico in the 1974 final. Aaron Romero reporting for Y News.
Journeyman Brian Stewart clinched his first PGA Tour title at the weather-plagued Zurich Classic of New Orleans. Stewart had a gripping playoff victory over fellow American Jamie Lovemark and South Korean An Byung-hun. The 33-year-old Stewart sealed the win on the second extra hole at the TPC Louisiana, the par 5 18th. The trio had finished the 54 regulation holes at 15 under 201. The Zurich Classic of New Orleans was shortened to 54 holes and extended into a Monday finish after thunderstorms, which lasted for 3 days.
Flyboarding world champion Gemma Weston shows off her amazing water stunt in the annual festival in Limerick, Ireland. This report tells us why. Flyboarding world champion Gemma Weston of New Zealand wowed thousands of spectators as she showed off her amazing water stunt at the River Festival in Shannon River, Limerick, Ireland. Aside from Weston's water stunts, the festival also featured the Great Limerick Run, which was participated by thousands of runners, including our compatriots in Ireland.
I think the waterboarding is brilliant. We've never seen waterboarding in the city here before. It's exceptionally skillful, and I wish I was young enough to be able to do it.
Hello from Riverfest Limerick. I'm Gemma Weston, to you in the Philippines.
Gemma Weston's breathtaking performance had surely brought life and color to the festival held at the historical and longest river in the country of Ireland, the Shannon River. Together with the Ireland UNTV News team, Darlene Basingan reporting for Y News. American slackliner Heather Larson makes history as she walked across a 30-meter-high wire stretch between Jerusalem's ancient towers. Meanwhile, Prince Harry with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau dropped the puck for sledge hockey athletes to kick off the countdown of the Invictus Games in Toronto. Precious Song will tell us why.
Holding out her arms for balance, Heather Larson, an American slackliner, walked across a narrow 30-meter-high wire between two ancient towers in Jerusalem's Old City.
Learning about these places growing up and being able to come and visit and then actually be able to perform my craft right here is a very incredible experience.
It was, she said, overwhelming to be making her own history in such a historical city. Wearing a harness attached to the line, Larson walked across a 35-meter span and then a 20-meter line inside the courtyard of the ancient museum of Jerusalem's Tower of David, named after the biblical king. The Tower of David, also known as the Jerusalem Citadel, houses a museum that depicts 4,000 years of the city's history. Meanwhile, Britain's Prince Harry and Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau dropped the puck for sledge hockey athletes during the 2017 Invictus Games media launch in Toronto, Ontario on Monday. Prince Harry began the countdown to the 2017 Invictus Games, meeting athletes and trying out some of the events himself during his visit to Toronto. The Invictus Games are the only international adaptive sporting event for injured active and veteran service members. Queen Elizabeth's grandson launched the first Invictus Games in London in 2014, and the second will take place in Orlando, Florida, May 8 to 12, featuring athletics, cycling, swimming, volleyball, and other sports. The Canadian Games are scheduled to begin in September of 2017. Precious Ong reporting for Y News.
Those are the reasons behind the news, May 3, 2016. Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I am Darlene Basingan sitting in for Gerry Alcantara.
Because we need to know. We will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y
News.
News.